Hello, and welcome to another edition of the Scenic View podcast. We have big news this week, so let's get to it. Okay, so exciting week in state government, and we're here to talk about it. But the big news I have is not what everyone is thinking. It's actually that we are back in our studio.
Woo! We're home. Home sweet home.
We're back. Just like that's a little different, but not much different. And we're excited to have a permanent home to do our podcast. But no, the real big news for the week is they finally passed a state budget. What are your thoughts, Artist? No, I just
yeah.
But yeah, it was released on Monday, right? There's been some talk in the last 2 weeks that they were very close to a budget. And no, it was released on
Tuesday.
Yeah, Tuesday. Yeah. I guess on Sunday night, we had heard that the compromise had been fully reached and they were just ironing out the details. Yeah. They dropped it on Tuesday morning. Most of the items from the May announcement on pay translated into the budget. There's no real big shock on what the raises are. So we already knew pretty much.
Right. Unfortunately, there was no surprise, no rectifying what was announced a couple of months ago.
Yeah, this is the one time we were actually hoping for a surprise, right?
Right. Well, that upon further reflection, maybe they realized, and having heard from so many Scenic members who came to our lobby day and have called and tried to get through by email, those tend to disappear with the spam filter. But, people tried to let them know.
Yeah.
But
didn't matter.
Well, apparently, because $1 billion got left on the table at the very end, right?
Yeah,
didn't even get spent.
Let's get into the details then. So for state employees, it's a 3% across the board raise for for all of them, and then there's others on top of that, right? Or are they concurrent?
Yeah. So most state employees will get 3%.
Yes.
And a bonus.
And a bonus of $1,750 for employees with salaries $65,000 or less. And those over $65,000 would get a $1,000 bonus. Retirees will get a 2.5% one-time bonus. And the law enforcement section is kind of convoluted, but
yeah.
Suffice it to say that there are much larger raises for some law enforcement.
Oh, yeah. Some of them up to, 27%, I think.
Yeah.
Was where some of them topped out, which, great. But there's a lot that goes into reducing your crime rate and keeping it down. Absolutely. Part of it is paying law enforcement enough that you get quality law enforcement personnel on the job. But I really thought there might be more investments in doing things that have been shown by research to help prevent crime and make your society healthier to where there's less crime from mental illness and things like that. So that was surprising to me.
Correctional officers get an average of 15.4% raise, and probation and parole officers will get an average of 10.1%. A lot of angst on our Facebook page from folks who work in corrections but aren't classified as officers.
As well there should be.
Yeah.
I mean, as well there should be, because the officers absolutely deserve, and honestly, we won't have any left if they hadn't done something drastic like they did. So, congratulations. Yay. Thank you to the General Assembly for giving correctional officers that kind of bump. But there are, in fact, so many more people within the walls, as we say. Mm-hmm. If you're within the walls of a prison, you're in danger.
Yeah.
All day, because anything could happen. I think this was very played out publicly this week, what we saw with the detention center in Bertie County, the jail, where 3 people were working there with 88 inmates.
Yeah.
So, you just about had a community that had an entire jail get out, and except for one guy who got out and was able to call 911.
So, on that situation, so I saw a lot of tweets about they only had 3 officers on duty,
right.
and acting like that was a failure of the center or the place. But
I mean, obviously they have to do an investigation into exactly what happened. But 3 people with 88 people incarcerated in there, we're not surprised by that because we know that's the way prisons are staffed. And sometimes in a prison, you'll have one officer for over 100 people. And it's no secret. People didn't try to talk about it much for years because it was like, oh, we don't really want inmates to know. Well, the inmates can count. They know.
Yeah.
And they've known for a long time. In fact, we have members routinely tell us, and have for years, that inmates are telling them, look, you go home at the end of the day because we let you.
Yeah.
And no lie there.
I saw some of the clips of the inmates being carried off in buses, and they were like screaming, excited, like a party atmosphere. And, that's what our people are facing every day.
Yeah. And so, I mean, I think that shows you, you better give some good raises. But again, everybody within the walls is in danger, and everybody wasn't recognized the same. Same thing with the raises for schools. Teachers, not all teachers get a good raise. Newer teachers get a good raise so that we could try to keep them. That's great.
Yeah.
But you need to keep your veteran teachers too, and the raises get less impressive with the more experience you have as a teacher. And then if you're not a teacher and you work in schools, you get 3%.
Get 3%. So starting teacher pay is raised from $41,000 to $48,000. Across the board, the average raise for teachers is 8%, which is more than 3%. But you're right. It seems like there's more of a push to get newer, maybe cheaper teachers than to keep the ones you have, right?
Think about that. Really let that sink in for a minute. It's like we were talking about with bridge inspectors for DOT, because that one terrifies me. The idea of getting the cheapest state employee we can and having them inspect a bridge that we're going to drive over.
Yeah.
But think about the cheapest teacher you can find. That's scary. But it's just as scary to me to think about getting the cheapest janitor for a school you can find. These are people who are going to be around our children.
Bus driver.
Right, bus driver.
Yeah.
People who take care of the bus maintenance.
Yeah.
Even the people in the front office, for goodness sakes, they have to make so many judgment calls about our children. And so this idea that we'll give good it sounds good in a soundbite. 8% teacher raises, and then you find out very few teachers are actually going to get that much.
Yeah.
15% correctional officer raises, and then you find out most of the people in a prison aren't going to get that. That are working in a prison. You've got so many people in prisons who are in jobs that are supposed to help educate or rehabilitate people so that when they get out of the prison, which they will, in most cases, they don't hit the streets unprepared to make a living and not end up back in the system or doing something that harms another individual or somebody's property.
Yeah. So other categories that may be of interest, the university and community college faculty and non-faculty personnel get 3% raises. The UNC employees, both under and exempt from the State Human Resources Act, will get 3% as well. The governor gets 3%, and the Council of State members as well. So that's a little cleanup, I guess. Our reaction to it, we released a statement, and it was actually picked up pretty much by we had a lot of media clips on it. And your take was basically like, this is not a budget from a state with an economy that is thriving, right? I mean,
you can only have it one of two ways. Either our state's not on the fiscal footing we were being told it is, which is, it's going great, or it's going great, and therefore you just don't care about these state employees. On the one hand, you say, we don't have the money to do better. Yeah. If you don't have the money to do better, there's a problem. There's a fundamental problem. If you don't have enough revenue coming in to do better than 3% when you gave no raise last year. Well, this is how I said it on the radio the other day. If you had a business and that business gave no raise one year, and then they cut the workforce and give a tiny raise, jack up the healthcare prices for their employees, if you're looking at that business on paper, you're not going to want to invest in that business. That's a business that's clearly struggling.
Yes.
And so every marker of that would be a warning bell. But that's how the states operate. That is literally the scenario. There was no raise last year, jacked up how much the employees had to pay for their own health care, just recently got rid of the health care benefit for retirees, and then the next year after no raise, you give a raise that doesn't match inflation. Things are not great. I mean, it can't be true. If it is, then it's just flagrant not just flagrant disrespect for state employees, but it's flagrant negligence, actually, about public services. Remember, the people getting 3% that we're having a hard time retaining are these people inspecting bridges or making sure infant formula is not tainted.
I saw a statement from, I think it was House Speaker Hall, that the bonus is kind of seen as makeup for last year.
How in the world?
Wasn't really a
that doesn't
correct statement, but
yeah, that doesn't add anything to your base salary. And then after the taxes get taken out of it, it's really not anything to write home about. I mean, I know everybody will be glad to get it because who doesn't want a little bit extra? And then let's look at the $65,000 thing. The ones making over $65,000, they get $1,000, and then after taxes, that'll not be near that. Why are they wanting to punish? Remember, anybody making over $65,000 is already paying a lot more for their health care than people making under $65,000 as of this year. And it seems like there's some sort of intention to punish people who stay long enough to get to where they can make over $65,000.
Yeah.
And it's crazy to me that somehow that's considered wealthy for state employees, but I could be a multimillionaire and the state will give me money to send my child to private school for free.
Yeah.
But state employees are rich if they get $65,000. Stop with the double standards. It's gross. Like, it's embarrassing.
Yeah. Speaking of the state health plan, you mentioned it. Treasurer Brad Briner came out very supportive of the budget. He said that the legislature put in increased funding this year for the state health plan. And his statement was, if the legislators had not made this additional investment of about $4 billion, it could have meant increased premiums by as much as $38 per member per month.
Mm-hmm. Well, they could also require transparency of the fees we're paying to hospitals, and we could probably reduce the cost for the state and every plan member.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's supposed to be a thank you. No, seriously, I don't know if that's supposed to be a thank you from us. We still want transparency.
Yeah.
We know we're overpaying. The health plan has sat right here in this podcast room and told us, oh, yeah, you're overpaying.
Yeah.
So no, we're not going to thank you for paying an outrageous amount you don't have to pay.
Yeah.
You could fix that. Stop subsidizing these $26 million a year CEOs of hospitals you turn around and give the Order of the Longleaf Pine to. I mean, I don't know what in the world. This is the most upside down world where state employees and retirees are supposed to thank the legislature for having to overfund a system that is only expensive because you're overpaying hospitals and not because of the care the members need.
And that money could have been used for better raises or COLAs.
It could be, yes, it could be used for anything that would be a public service and something vital that could help a majority of the people and not just line pockets of hospital administrators.
Yeah. And we expect, I guess, after the holiday, July 10th, the State Health Plan Board of Trustees will meet to, I guess they're going to talk about the structure of the plan for next year, right? And the premium structure.
Right. And the fact that costs will go up for everybody.
Yeah, and we're expecting costs to go up. So.
Right. So that's the next hit state employees will take.
Yeah.
So they can see that 3% going bye-bye.
Yeah. So we don't have exact numbers on that, but we're pretty confident that it'll be another increase, right?
I mean, well, that's
another premium.
We're pretty confident because of comments publicly that have been made in board meetings that seem to be kind of setting the stage for that. Yeah.
So in essence, you got a 3% raise to pay for an increase in health plan.
Probably.
Not a good situation for state employees.
Yeah, they're not gaining a bit of ground.
Yeah, and retirees.
So more people will leave. We're still in this cycle. And then as your experienced people leave and you hire the cheapest people who don't really want to make a career, who don't really give much of a poop and just need a job for a little bit, you're going to get the kind of outcomes you get with that, which affects the public in their health and their safety. Look at HHS. HHS runs facilities that care for our most vulnerable citizens. Those folks doing that vital work, which is dangerous work sometimes, are getting 3%.
Yeah.
So what we're going to have working with our most vulnerable populations is the cheapest people we can get who can literally go down the street to a fast food restaurant with benefits and make more.
Yeah.
So don't tell me the state's in great financial shape, because if we are, then we've got a screwed up set of priorities.
Exactly.
But the cuts are more concerning than anything to me.
Yeah, we want to get to the cuts as well. I think a net of, it was 742 positions were cut, around 500 from Department of Corrections, and then I think there was like 364 from DHHS. They added some positions in other areas.
Okay, all right, so let's really think about this. So, huge emphasis on law enforcement raises. We're trying to do something about crime and about this. A lot of this started, tidal wave of interest got born in large part from the Irina Zarutska incident in Charlotte where she was murdered on the light rail. And her assailant had a long history of documented mental illness and interactions with law enforcement because of that mental illness. So that starts off this renewed vigor around let's increase our law enforcement pay and, appropriate so that we can have enough people and have them be good law enforcement. But there's the other pieces to that I mentioned earlier that are getting left behind. If you're cutting HHS, which works to try to make sure you have a healthy society, both physically and mentally, and provides all kind of services to people who are struggling and who might hurt themselves or others. But you're also cutting the Department of Adult Correction.
Yeah.
So these law enforcement officers with beefed up salaries take to the streets. They're high quality folks because you can afford them. And they make arrests and they send people to a prison system that's been historically very underfunded. And now you're cutting hundreds of positions from it.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
And I saw a few tweets that were talking about, well, these are just vacant jobs, but they shouldn't be vacant. You should fill them.
Well, they are vacant. Okay, we've been through this a million times.
Yeah.
We'll go through it 1,000,001. They're vacant because we can't fill them because they're not competitive. And agencies have not filled them sometimes by choice because the agencies have told the legislature till they're blue in the face, you're not giving us enough money to operate. We literally can't pay vendors we owe money to. So, we left those jobs vacant because the state's not paying its bills.
Yeah.
Now, if that was because of the negligence of the agency itself, why would they come to the legislature and admit it? We're not paying this bill.
Yeah.
That wouldn't happen.
And I guess there's an elephant in the room with the budget that you mentioned earlier. There's a $1 billion left unappropriated. And there was a lot of talk just before the budget was released about this MLB stadium.
Mm-hmm.
Can't make a direct correlation to that unappropriated money, but it's...
Oh, the whole building says it's for baseball.
Yeah.
I mean, because the way Senator Berger and Speaker Hall left this conversation was that Speaker Hall said, my caucus isn't comfortable doing that at this time.
And I don't understand why it need to be in this budget anyway. Can you just make a...
Why are we paying? No. The more fundamental question is, why would we pay publicly for a team instead of the people who are going to clean up the private equity interests that buy these teams?
Yeah. And that's a huge problem all over the country.
Yeah.
It's always taxpayer dollars that get wasted. Sammy's got a...
You win one Stanley Cup and you think that you need every single major league sports team here.
Right?
Hey, we've won two.
Well, what did they
One
say?
in the past 20 years,
What was it in the Roman times? The circuses and wine keep us busy so that we don't realize that we have the most expensive healthcare in the country in North Carolina, so that we don't realize that our roads are kind of not what they used to be, so that we don't realize that we don't have enough people on the job to keep our autopsies up to date and things like that. But hey, let's pay for a Major League Baseball team.
When you go to South Carolina and you can no longer tell the difference between the roads in South Carolina versus North Carolina.
That's when
a
you
problem.
know. That's when you know it's concerning.
Is the best indicator of...
That is.
You're right, because you used to go to South Carolina, just immediately hit all the bumps.
Yeah.
And
now you're already hitting them in North Carolina.
Yeah, and I mean, we got to be better in South Carolina.
And I'm tickled that
they also
won the Stanley Cup.
Pay taxes to keep their for their gas and stuff to keep the roads maintained.
Yeah,
we do. Where's that money going?
Yeah, it's any municipality, or I guess in this case state, but whenever a municipality chases a sports team like that and throws all that money at them to keep them, it's just like those grants we've done under so many different names over the years for companies to come here, and then they pick up and leave, and we get left with the bill. And we had some okay jobs for a little bit.
And don't get me wrong, I love baseball.
You love baseball.
I spend most of my
I love it
all-time
too.
baseball field. And it would be awesome to have a baseball team in North Carolina. First off, I mean, I know we got billionaires backing it now, and maybe there's a chance, but I'll believe it when I see it. I
Let
mean,
the
just
billionaires fund it.
Yeah,
Don't
exactly.
use public money. Let the billionaires do it.
Right.
Exactly.
Because I guarantee you the state wouldn't get any profit if that Major League Baseball team won the World Series. Give me a break. But yeah, everybody's saying that the billion is being set aside for baseball. You know, the billion is there because you have all these vacant jobs.
Yeah.
That's why it's there. So it should have gone to the people. And it's in fact several billion have gone back to the states in the last few years just because of vacant jobs.
Yeah.
And the people who have paid for those billions are the ones doing the job of more than one person, and the state, the taxpayers who are getting less services and in some cases being put in unsafe situations because we're not properly staffed. So billions went back to the state, not because anybody's making great financial decisions down there on Jones Street, but because we had a lot of vacant jobs. Again, if you looked at that on paper and you're analyzing it as a business, that's not a business that's thriving.
It looks like it does include the Children's Hospital, right, for UNC Health and Duke, and a rural health partnership for children and for UNC and ECU. I guess that's a good thing, but there was a lot of debate, and it was holding up that budget, right? A lot of that.
Yeah.
Anything else you saw that stuck out? I know that the election part got a lot of attention. 21 new positions for the State Board of Elections. And I think they were asking for 24 or something, right? And
yeah, I think that's right. Somewhere in that range.
To modernize the state election system. So that's where all the jobs are going. So State Auditor Dave Bolick is adding 25 positions and new regional offices in Charlotte and Asheville. He's really expanding the auditors.
Didn't get new jobs when he first started working at the auditor. How many new positions does he need?
How many?
I don't know. It depends what you want to do with the auditor's office. You know, I don't know anymore what. These roles of these council of state positions seem to be morphing, but not in it's kind of one at a time. Kind of way, rather than some sort of comprehensive overview of what the Council of State is and what they do. And
they'll change on a dime if they ever change parties, you know?
And that's where people get, I think it degrades the offices if you start doing that. People will lose faith in the offices. And one of the things we've always had is a tremendously strong Council of State that has been, didn't matter who's in charge in party-wise, governor or legislature, they were really very independent folks. And so I hope we can maintain that.
So I guess they're taking the final budget vote right now, right? And Suzanne just sent us an adjournment bill for today, right? So they're going to leave today and come back on July 27th.
Oh, okay.
After they finish the budget. And then I guess it's up to Governor Stein to sign it or let it sit and become law or veto it.
Yeah, I think he'll sign it. I mean, we hadn't had a budget in several years. He's kind of in a position where he's going to have to sign that thing.
Yeah.
And then they said they'll come back. They'll keep coming back off and on. Yeah. They'll definitely come back after November, they said. Oh, by the way, this is important because people will want to know when they get their money, their raises and their bonuses.
Yeah. I think it was October?
So that's for the bonus.
Okay.
The raise goes into effect July 1.
So it started yesterday, and it'll be in your next paycheck, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So I think people, even the ones who are biweekly, there's time for them to see it mid-July, and then everybody else sees it at the end of July in their paycheck.
Well, that's welcome news. And so I guess we always try to kind of put it in context for our listeners. And so what can you do at this point? Well, the budget it's signed, or it will be signed soon, and it'll be law. But what you can do is get out and vote and work for impact and volunteer, and because we have an election coming up November 3rd. So
yeah, I think that we have a lot of people, my goodness, we have a lot of people expressing themselves on our social media about they can't wait to vote. I think that the important thing to remember is to check on every one of your representatives or senators in your area, what they've done for state employees or retirees, what they've said about those issues, and educate yourself before you make that vote, because it cannot be about party, because there's no political party coming to save you, state employees and retirees.
Yeah.
The Democrats were in charge for a long time before the Republicans, and it looked a lot like this. Teachers get a really big raise, state employees get a very tiny one. At that time, we still had some money left for COLAs in the system, but they were dwindling. So, no party's coming to save you. You have to look at every single one of the people in the legislature, and if you need information on that, contact your district's impact representative.
Yeah, and that's the beauty of impact, is that our PAC is nonpartisan, and they work to endorse candidates who support state employees and retirees regardless of party. And I'm sure we'll be releasing a list of our endorsements closer to the election. Our impact board I think they had a meeting a few nights ago. So they've steadily meeting and they're starting their interview processes. They're very thorough. They don't look at the R or the D beside the name. They will interview anyone who is seeking our endorsement. And you can rest assured that the people they endorse are people who support state employees and retirees. So go to impact.scenic.org if you want to find out some more or maybe get involved with Impact.
And we should do an episode where you read a bunch of the comments from our social media, because I've not seen it to this level ever, where people are saying, look, I'm a lifetime Republican, but I've had it,
Maybe that's next.
I would tell everybody not to work for the state. I've never seen it to this level of unhappiness.
And am I going to have to find a bleep button for those comments?
The good thing about Facebook is it automatically.
I was going to say, I don't see any cuss words.
Sometimes they do hide comments, though, that also have nothing bad in them.
Yeah, they do sometimes.
Weird.
I don't know. I feel like I'm going to closely follow these comments, though, because, again, I've been around for a long time. I've never seen anything quite like this, and it's not anything that there's no organization driving it in terms of the parties or anything. This is just people's gut reactions. I guess it's mirroring what we're seeing at the federal level, though. There's definitely an anti-incumbency wave. People are just feeling like they've been trod on a bit.
And it's every post. Like every time I post or we post something about
anything.
Like long-term care insurance, there's a bunch of comments, So
people are angry.
Very active, very angry. And that's a good thing. I mean, not a good thing that they're angry, but at least they're
active.
And
but that was what was weird to me. I kept thinking, it seems to me, you would think legislators are seeing this too.
Yeah.
Not just our page. I don't imagine they're looking at our page to see what state employees and retirees think. It's up to us to go lobby about that. But we've been sharing with them. Our people came down on lobby day and shared with them. And surely they see just generally out there, the sentiment from the public in North Carolina is not happy.
I'm going to throw something out there that may or may not be true. I think our Facebook page is the most active in state government. Like,
I have no idea.
Real. I don't know of any other group that gets this many comments on everything.
And it's mainly the retirees. They are so mad.
Yeah.
Retiree. I think people are underestimating if these retirees all come out and vote together.
Yeah, and you look at like when a news source puts out a post, they'll get a few comments, and they have more followers than us, but it's nowhere near as active as ours.
Yeah.
And that's I think that's a good thing.
First Amendment, it's good.
Yeah. So there's a lot of fervor in our membership, angst, maybe if you and they just need to channel it towards the election and make change. We're working with you, so definitely get involved. So only other story beside the budget that I saw that I guess you brought up to me, actually, I can't take credit for it, was the Governor Stein established the Health Care Affordability Commission that is going to be co-chaired by the DHHS secretary and the state treasurer. So kind of a non-partisan committee. What are your thoughts? I know you had some thoughts.
Yeah. Well, my very initial thought when I saw the tweet the other day, and it was the same day the budget came out that this was posted, I thought, okay, we're doing this again? Because do you know how many of these committees we've had on affordability under different governors? And guess what the committees are usually made up of? the committee members.
Execs and
Yeah,
folk.
you got it exactly right. So sure enough, I thought when I first saw it, I really did say, are we really doing this again? Because it's usually a dog and pony show. It's a bunch of propaganda. And nothing becomes more affordable after any of these committees because we're still number one most expensive in this state. But I decided, let me look at the voting members before I pass judgment. And you're right, the co-chairs are Treasurer Briner and Secretary Sung Bai. So that sounds good. They certainly know what they're doing. And then they're joined by several members of the House and Senate, as well as Kristen Walker, who's the director of the Office of State Budget and Management. Now, those are the voting members. That's fine. But the advisory members, the ones they're taking advice from, take a look at that list, John.
First one, Josh Dobson, President and CEO of the North Carolina Healthcare Association.
And then John Green, CEO, Iredell Health System.
And CEO of the Nurses Association, President of the Medical Society, several doctors, Blue Cross and Blue Shield CEO.
CEO of UNC Health and Dean of the UNC School of Medicine.
CEO of Impact Health, President of WELL, which I assume is some sort of healthcare situation. Yeah, why wouldn't Artist Watkins?
Gary Salamine? No, it doesn't need to be Artist Watkins for sure, but let me tell you something. What I don't see I don't see anybody from labor on here. So nobody who would represent workers. And I don't see anybody like Barack Richmond, such a strong voice. He works at Duke, and he's a national expert that people often ask for comment. I don't see anybody who would be a voice for the consumer. And I actually had somebody ask me this week, well, don't you mean patient? No, because sometimes everybody buys health insurance for the most part.
Yeah.
Whether you use it in a given year or not, you're paying for health insurance almost always, or your employer is. So you're a consumer whether or not you go to use the healthcare. The healthcare system is costing you money. If your employer is paying for it and you never go use it, it's costing you in wages because your employer has less to pay you in wages because their healthcare is so expensive. And I think we forget that everybody's a consumer.
This is an aside, but I did see a TikTok this week just asking why is healthcare connected to our employment? It would be like,
yeah, well, that's the system.
A whole other issue. Yeah.
System we set up in this country. It's very unique to other industrialized nations, and I think it's been a good run for the folks running the system. But I do think this thing's coming to a
screeching halt.
I think so because the public just can't withstand it anymore.
And if anything, they could have put our last podcast guest, Dr. Brian Miller, on.
Brian Miller would have been an excellent addition. So, I'm not excited about the advice the voting members are getting. If that tells you anything, it tells you everything. It looks exactly like every other affordability committee has ever looked.
Yeah. And setting up a committee is fine, but if you really want to tackle the problem, just take action. Just actually do something to improve transparency in our healthcare costs. Or, at some point you just have to take real action and not just talk about it. So.
Well, that's not going to happen out of that committee. I'm going to go ahead and make a bold prediction that the committee does not say, wow, look at your national ratings on the affordability of your healthcare and then look at your outcomes for patients. Oh my goodness, your patient outcomes should be really towards the top of the list if you're the most expensive place, right? And that's not what's happening. Our patient outcomes are not on a national list at the top.
Maybe we should start our own committee.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's the budget in a nutshell and other items. That's pretty much all I have this week, but it is the 4th of July weekend.
Woohoo!
So I guess my question of the week this week is, do you have any big plans? I'm going to the beach as we usually do with my mom, and then she got mad last year because we didn't go to look at fireworks. And I have a thing where I'm like, fireworks kind of overrated, but she really wants to go. So
you got to take her.
Yeah. So I think we're going to go to Southport and check that out with every other person from North Carolina.
I don't know. The temperatures this weekend
I know it's going to
really kind of might dissuade some people. And I like fireworks too, but I got to say, we've been really dry recently.
Oh, yeah.
I'm a little worried about
Oh,
that.
no. You're
So-
right. Maybe I wonder if any celebrations have been canceled or anything because of it.
I haven't heard that they have, but I'm worried about it. But Sammy, you always have a life. Tell us what you're doing.
Yeah.
I am going to spend the weekend in Virginia at a lake with my brother, his girlfriend, and her parents. We're gonna be.
That's
we're
how
gonna be
you
on a
do
boat.
it. That's how you do the 4th.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got to get into lake life.
Oh,
People are
It's amazing.
I love it.
people are
I miss
excited
it.
about it these days.
We can't get the pontoon boat out because the lake is too dry, but the speedboat still works. We're good. Just can't get
Okay.
on the pontoon.
Yeah, the speedboats. Oh, well, I don't know. Pontoons are fun. So.
They're fun for the evenings whenever you're going out on 4th of July to
Mhm.
watch the fireworks.
Yeah.
That's true. Little floating living room.
Yeah,
Artists-
it's nice.
Artists, are you getting into some fishing?
I haven't been, but when you just said something about the lake levels, I used to, when my kids were growing up, I took them out every weekend, tubing and fishing and whatnot. I bet the lake levels are really low. I haven't been out there,
Yeah.
and I remember that's always when I was most concerned, especially pulling the kids on the tube, because that's when you've got sticks and stuff, branches that
Mm-hmm.
With how dry we are, I'm
are right
more
there.
concerned about a bad hurricane season coming up because
thinking
about
that,
typically
too.
when it is really dry, we have a really, really rough hurricane season.
And forest fires. We were
Mhm.
talking about the budget this week, and one of the things, we have some members from out west who have fought so hard for Mark Haskett and his District 1 out west in your favorite neck of the woods, Sammy.
Yeah.
They have fought really hard for the forest firefighters because they weren't getting good raises, and they're going to get a 13% raise this year. Well, I know the eastern part of the state is also can be a really problematic part for forest fires. So I am prayerful we do not have to deal with that, but very glad because they are really understaffed. So many vacancies with our folks that fight forest fires.
Yeah.
So, and we are so thankful for them.
Well, that's our show this week. Thanks for tuning in. Have a great 4th, and we'll see you next week.